Ava Gardner was born on December 24, 1922 in Grabtown, North Carolina. She's known for being an actress. She had a prolific career and was one of the biggest stars from Hollywood's golden age. She came from a very poor family. She was discovered after her photographer brother-in-law put a picture of her up in the front window of his New York City studio. A guy who worked for a theater suggested they send her picture into the MGM studio, and shortly after she was given a 7-year contract. She had bit parts at first since she was untrained and had a thick southern accent. Her first significant role was in the 1946 movie called The Killers. Some of her best movies were Showboat, Mogambo, The Night of the Iguana, The Barefoot Contessa, and On the Beach, just to name a few. She was married 3 times and had no children. Her first husband was actor Mickey Rooney. Her third husband was Frank Sinatra. She was shy and drank alcohol to ease her anxiety. She dated Howard Hughes, but she only wanted to be friends with him. She had a stroke in 1986 and was left partially paralyzed. She had emphysema and lupus. She died in 1990 from pneumonia. She was 67 years old.
Today would have been Ava Gardner's 100th birthday. Which of her films is your favorite? She skyrocketed to fame after starring in The Killers, and became a leading lady of the 1950s, starring in films including Showboat, The Snows of Kilimanjaro, The Barefoot Contessa, Bhawani Junction, On the Beach, and 7 Days in May. She received a Best Actress Oscar nomination for the 1953 film Mogambo, and received critical praise for her performance in 1964's The Night of the Iguana. She was a fashion icon, and was married 3 times to Mickey Rooney, Artie Shaw, and most famously Frank Sinatra. Ava Gardner passed away in 1990, but will remain a legendary star. Happy 100th.
Ava Gardner was married 3 times to one of the most famous men. But was Ava Gardner in love with the woman? This is several parts. Pause to read. At just 18 years old, she married child star Mickey Rooney. Their marriage did not last that long because he was an alcoholic womanizer and was really cruel to her. Her best friend Lana Turner had an affair with Rooney. The marriage lasted a year, and they kept the details pretty private. In 1945, she marries band musician Artie Shaw. They were really messy from the beginning. He left his wife for Ava. Despite that, Ava was truly obsessed with him. She felt very slow and immature around him. He was emotionally abusive. The marriage only lasted a year because he left her for another woman. Years later, she marries one of the most famous men in the world, Frank Sinatra. They began their relationship as an affair. He was the lover of her friend Lana Turner. More on part 2.
Remembering Ava Gardner, December 24, 1922, January 25, 1990, on her birth anniversary today. Actress who appeared in the film adaptation of Hemingway's The Killers and married Frank Sinatra. She also appeared in the life and times of Judge Roy Bean, The Snows of Kilimanjaro, and The Barefoot Contessa. She took secretarial classes at Atlantic Christian College. She was nominated for an Academy Award for her work in Mogambo. Frank Sinatra was her third husband, and they remained married from 1951 to 1957. She starred in the film Mogambo with Clark Gable.
Beautiful, talented, and a little volatile, Ava Gardner was an unforgettable icon of old Hollywood. But here are some things you might not have known about the star. While Ava is known for being boisterous and not being afraid to speak her mind, she was surprisingly quite shy. She didn't like giving interviews and couldn't stand to watch her own performances. Ava often felt bad about her lack of education. When she arrived in Hollywood in her late teens, allegedly the only books she had ever read were the Bible and Gone with the Wind. But she didn't let it hold her back. She worked hard to educate herself throughout her life. She loved corgis. When they were together, Frank Sinatra gifted her her first corgi, who she named Rags, and then she continued to have pet corgis for the rest of her life. While her singing was dubbed in all of her MGM films, that is her real voice you hear in The Killers.
Heartbreak or two.